Hello again YouTube, welcome back to some more Isaac. We're recording this not right after the last run, but the day after, because I want to do a special Inside Baseball-y Isaac episode, as opposed to Gungeon. The context is going to be important, and people are still filtering in, so we start with soy milk. I'm just going to check this and then quickly restart. Yeah, okay, let's quickly restart and let's pretend that didn't happen. Bum friend. Let's. I want a relatively good start, so I don't need to focus too much. That's okay. This is interesting. We'll play with this. LK8L72NO. No, that's a 0. N0. Hello, Reaper, are you full? Hello, Wandering Rogue. So yeah, usually I used Gungeon for Inside Baseball stuff, which is talking about the behind-the-scenes stuff of YouTube or Twitch or anything related to that. Not really feeling playing Gungeon, so I thought, why not do an Isaac episode 10 for playing Isaac 2 days in a row. And there's nothing wrong with Isaac. Well, there's a lot wrong with him if you've seen him. I mean, look at him. But other than that, everything is perfectly normal. But to let people filter in, I thought I'd start with just a short story, because I took Sora to the vet today to get her butt glands cleaned out. Yes, that is as wonderful as you might think, because she's been nibbling at her back legs a little bit, so that's usually the telltale sign to me that the glands are needing cleaned. As it turns out, they weren't particularly gummy, so I was like, well, what's up with that? The vet suggested it might be seasonal allergies, or there might be too much protein in her worker dog food that she's on, so it's kind of like a just try a few things and see what works. Hello, Meta Magpie. Sora did not too badly. She only gurred a little bit when she was getting her butt prodded. We've all been there, right? Especially you. You know who I mean. But the reason I bring it up is because when Sora was kind of sitting in the corner next to the door waiting to leave after being poked and prodded, she did her blepping thing. So she was just kind of sitting there, you know, with her tongue, the tip of her tongue just kind of sticking out while I was talking to the... I think we want this for the stat increases, honestly. While I was talking to the vet, and the vet happened to notice that she was doing it, and she said, oh look, she's sticking the tip of her tongue out, does she do that a lot? And I said, yes. And then I said, that's called blepping. Because she was a young lady, like she was younger than I was, so I thought, if anybody knew the internet parlance that is blep, it would be her. But she kind of looked at it for a second and laughed and said, well, I've learned something today. So I got to teach a vet what blepping was. And Sora's the master of it, honestly, so that was interesting. Actually, a kind of tangential story. Why did I use the world card? I can't see a damn thing. Tangential type thing is when I phoned up about getting the appointment. I haven't had... No, I did have Diam Room. No, I started with growth hormones. I haven't had Diam Room. I basically said, oh, she's been nibbling at herself, so she probably needs her butt glands cleaned out. The receptionist... Oh no, I did go in. It was growth hormone. No, that's what it was. It was to pause. The receptionist just was not understanding when I said, hey, she needs her butt glands cleaned out. She didn't understand what I meant until I specifically said anal glands. It's like, have you not heard the word butt before? I really want one more penny to buy Spider Mod. Yeah, blepping is the one thing she's a master at. 1 penny, please, so I can get back on topic. Well, honestly, that kind of wraps up the topic I had to kill time until people arrived. Really? We're not going to get 1 more penny? I mean, I guess we could from the boss. Yeah, she barks to defend the house. Bollocks. I guess we'll fight the boss and try and get a coin. Yeah, she's also a pretty good whiner, yeah. Or I could actually... Aha! Ahahaha! I circumvented the puzzle. Give me the mod. Spider Buddy. She is also really good at licking people's knees, yeah. She likes sniffing the back of my mother's ankle for some reason. Again, I don't know why. Oops. Moving a bit too fast for my own good there. So the reason I want to talk about an Inside Baseball-y type thing is... No, I don't need a mod. You know the rules. As well, if you remember, I was knocking around this plan. Well, it wasn't a plan, it was an idea. Of converting my channel, my YouTube channel, not Twitch, to just being wargaming focused. Then kind of put that on the back burner because I didn't see a point in doing it prior to me, like, retiring, as it were, and getting a real job. Because battle reports could be something I could do, like, every now and then, and it wouldn't matter if there was anything else, so... It was kind of put on the back burner for that reason. But that still didn't solve the solution of, like, what to do with YouTube. And I've kind of been feeling the itch to do some form of YouTube video again recently. But the problem isn't just finding something to play, it's also that most of the time I think of something I feel like playing, I always think, well, would I have more fun playing it on Twitch? And the answer is usually yeah. Almost all the time the answer is yeah. I prefer playing for a live audience than I do to a pre-recorded one. Not that there's anything wrong with pre-recorded. It's just doing it live is just, it's a more interesting experience. Not necessarily always good, but more interesting. Yeah, because chat is awesome. That's absolutely the reason. You got it. So I was thinking we could use an Inside Baseball type thing for you lot, even though I know most of you are just your viewers, you're not content creators, but use it as an opportunity to get ideas, like do a mass brainstorming. I don't want to frame it as asking for help because I hate asking for help. So I'd rather frame it as a brainstorming where we can kind of shoot ideas around for either YouTube and or Twitch. What do you think could be done to make this last longer? Because we're still on the downward spiral. It's very unlikely I'll still be doing this by 2020, most likely. I'd like that to not be the case because this is my dream job. But I do also know that a lot of people, occasionally people have tried to give me advice, and my pushback against advice, and we'll cover this before I go in here, is that it comes down to this. You could say, hey Flik, don't do this, or do this instead, or maybe do this a bit less, but all that's irrelevant if you don't solve the one hurdle that I don't know how to solve. I don't know how to get over it. And I don't think most of chat will either, but hey, this is a brainstorm, so whatever. The hurdle that's huge is getting people to give you a chance. It's getting eyeballs. It doesn't matter if you're charismatic or talented or funny, skilled, whatever, if there's no eyeballs to give you a chance. So the hurdle is increased viewership to let people decide for themselves whether you're their cup of tea. And the thing that kind of spurred this was YouTube is forcing everybody to try the new analytics for a day. New analytics, by the way, really, really good. It's just that they force you to use the new video manager if you use the new analytics. And the new video manager is shite, unfortunately. But there's an interesting bit in the analytics where it tells you how many YouTube videos are recommending your content. And mine was something like 21 point something % of YouTube, which sounds absolutely ridiculous when you think about how many videos go up on YouTube a day. And then I looked at, like, what are the videos that are most recommending my content? Some lady playing The Sims 4 was the only video in the list it provided that was not one of my own videos. So is there really any point in YouTube recommending my videos on my videos? Because that's not going to generate new viewership, and it's new viewership that needs to happen. Hello, look. So it's a topic of conversation I'm throwing it out to the floor. On YouTube and or Twitch, how do you get people to watch? Outside of collaboration. Collaboration is the only answer I can ever get to. And everyone I know is only just getting started, not, they're not established. Like, fine, you can lose people because you annoy them at some point or another, as I have done, but to even get to the point to where you will annoy someone, they have to at least give you that chance first. Oh, that room is designed to hurt you. Glow glow. No, it was a lady, I don't know, I didn't read the name, but it was some lady who played The Sims 4 and the whole shtick was she was getting pregnant as many times as possible on one character. The thumbnail was very clickbaity, it was a woman with a gigantic baby bulge. I don't know why it was recommending some of my content, but apparently it is. They might be a viewer, I don't know. What the? Why did that crack and not break? Oh! It was a double tinted rock. I think I've only ever accidentally found them by mistake. Yeah, I guess every room is designed to hurt you in its own special way. But I mean, that one was designed to punish you for doing what every Isaac player does, which is shoot as you go into a room rather than waiting until the room procs. Clickbait titles and thumbnails. Well, you see, that's the other interesting thing. I've garnered what little community I have, mostly of adults, like people who aren't interested in clickbait stuff. So I thought my average audience watch time would be higher than YouTube's analytics is claiming it is. Because generally, if you aren't just looking for quick videos, you'll probably end up doing what I do, which is like leaving it on in the background and ending up like having a retention rate of like an hour and a half. Break the information bubble around the videos on social media or within a genre. That is good advice. That would fall under the general title of networking, I guess, and I don't know, networking and like putting yourself out there makes me very uncomfortable. But if you also think about it, the only content I've ever made it with, like Overwatch, anime videos back in the day, they've all been shorter form. Like the highlight videos from Overwatch, what, an Overwatch match at most was what, 10 minutes? The old anime fight videos I did were roughly 10 minutes, more or less. So short form content is probably, like, that was an answer I kind of got to regarding drawing more people in. The problem is the most recent attempt I did at short form content didn't work. I did download, like I was looking through Twitch clips and I did download a bunch of them from the last year, so none of the like super old ones. And if I knew anything about video, like supercut creation, I'd make one of those, but I don't know how to do that. So if anyone does know, I have accumulated a bunch of clips that could be made into some kind of like highlight reel to kind of promote the Twitch side on YouTube. Is that down to game of choice or something else? If you mean the things that have taken off for me, it's definitely people are more likely to give something a chance if it's short. Because even if it's like something not clickbaity, if you see one of my YouTube videos now that it's basically just an archive for stream stuff, each one's like an hour and a half. Not everybody's got time for that, and they don't really want to just watch a little of it. They'll tell themselves they want to watch all of it. And rightfully so, most people are too busy to watch. Like, basically I'm putting 3 hours of video on YouTube a day, more or less. Comedy in a specific game compared to a variety of streams you do now? Commission an editor, that would cost money. Does Police of Cake have lots of like edited stuff on his streams or videos? Incidentally, I am going to be playing Devil's Advocate. That's not because I want to shoot down literally every suggestion, it's because I want to offer the counterpoint. He's done film editing stuff? A good source of short 5 to 10 minutes of indie games. So I was thinking about that because I used to do the Let's Look Ats and they used to be 20-minute looks at a game. But then I kind of replaced them with doing hour ofs, essentially. Because I feel like an hour of where I'm not just giving my opinion on a game lets people decide for themselves whether it's something they're interested in based on an hour chunk of gameplay. Which is usually how much I give myself if I'm umming and ahhing about a game. Or I did way back when. Valinar's playing Bloodstained at the moment, yeah, he's been singing its praises. Sure. Even though it will hurt us. You're still here? I didn't say you weren't. I said you were singing the praises of Bloodstained in the Discord. That part was true. Ooh, I would like that. Oh, okay, it's fine. We still got enough. But that was... I'm moving too fast for my own good. I said so.
Yes.
Yeah, Metroidvania is the Bloodstained one. I guess I could technically go back to doing some Let's Look At as opposed to Hour Ofs. I could technically do both, I suppose. There's no harm. And then that would give me something for just YouTube along... I mean, battle reports are obviously just for YouTube because I can't do those live anytime I do an unboxing or whatever. I was thinking of what else I could try and incorporate from the wargaming side as a shorthand video style, but... like, making comedy skits are not really my bag. More, I like playing off things people say. That's my style. Or things I notice as I play something. Like, doing a stand-up routine is definitely not my bag, baby. Hello, little Chad. How nice to see you again. Considered miniature product evaluation? I had considered it, kinda. I kinda draw the line at unboxing because generally if you do like a review of a specific miniature, the done thing, because I have seen a couple, is to like show the finished product painted and spruced up. And the problem with that is I'm not very good painting, at painting rather. The contrast stuff I guess I technically could have done videos on. Some retro streams? Well, this game is 5 years old. Does that count? Actually, is it 5 years or is it longer than 5 years? Christ. I don't think retro streams... I mean, are retro streams likely to bring in an audience? I don't mind playing older games, because hell, I replayed like all the Arkham games, and the earliest one of them was from 2009. Replayed Alan Wake, and that was from roughly the same era. I know you're probably meaning older than that, but I don't think that's the way to bring in new audience. The next generation of gamers are being brought up on Fortnite. They're not going to care what Super Mario 2 is, for instance. Why did I come in here? Also, largely, if you want to do retro stuff, you don't do it legally, and I like trying to keep things on the up and up. I know there is like virtual consoles and stuff, but that's not going to cover every single game ever. See, it's not an easy thing, is it? And that's why I'm presenting it to you lot, because anyone who's still watching, presumably to some degree would be, I mean, upset is maybe a bit of a strong word, but a little upset once I'm no longer doing this. I'm sure you could definitely move on, find someone else, etc., but at least in the short term. So that's why I kind of had the idea of making it a group problem solving. Because I love doing this, and I will keep doing this for as long as I can, but when it's no longer financially viable, I can't. I mean, I literally can't. Got a mortgage to pay. Don't know precisely when that will happen. I can guess, but there's no like strict timetable. Some months are obviously better than others. Some times of year are better than others. And I'd rather not rely on just the few of the wealthier viewers who are very generous with bits and such like, because that's not sustainable either. Better to have a large audience who all do just a little bit. Because then it's fairer as well. The YouTube videos can sometimes be hard to keep up with. Given their length, right? Which is very true, yes. Although the YouTube videos also don't go anywhere. Like the Twitch VODs eventually do. But the YouTube videos are still there to watch, like, forever, essentially. Unless they go bust. Altered Bees actually does make a very good point there. Also, I lost a key to that little shit there, didn't I? People aren't looking for a straightforward opinion, they're looking for self-affirmation of their own opinions. That is very, very, very true. That's why people get upset if you dislike a game that they like and decide to leave. It's because they treat it as you insulting them, not just the thing they like. Wow. Don't think I've ever seen this room before. Yeah, I'm avoiding trying to make this sound like any kind of ultimatum because, as I say, I don't want just a few people like keeping me on drip feed. I would much rather find success or be forced to move on. Shop restock's gonna be no good to us. We'll take the map and move on. Yeah, that'll be a really good. We could get Dart Bomb. Oh no, but I can't get back out. Oh no, there is a deep cut that you know Bob has been around for a while. Resurrecting the Brain Go Hurty podcast. That was a long time ago. I think there is a place for podcasts. I think people like listening to them. I don't know if there's a place for like yet another gaming podcast, even yet another like wargaming podcast. But that's how you know that you've been around for a long ass time, if you know that. Would it help you to say what other YouTube channels you enjoy for ideas and or inspiration? But then I'm just copying them. That's why it comes down to, like, my basic opinion is unless you know somebody who's very popular, to collaborate and grow organically, kind of like via that. The only other way is to have something go viral, which isn't likely given the type of content I create, or do some kind of shorthand series that also, even on a smaller scale, goes viral as well. Wow. You don't see a wargaming podcast? They exist. Some of them are in YouTube video form as well as iTunes, but they exist. Haven't listened to them, but there is some. Also, I totally missed Pepper's resub. I apologize. I was playing and also distracted. 33 months in a row with Twitch Prime. I suggest Flik becomes a titty streamer. Twitch doesn't like it when you call them that. Actually, despite the Batman miniature game also basically being like void of a player base, there isn't even a podcast for that. There's a podcast for everything. I think it's called Streets of Gotham, something like that. But keep in mind, I watch content creators as well, so I am aware of like what other people are doing and or the competition. Is just I don't see anybody producing the type of stuff that I produce. But that's part of the problem, because obviously what I'm doing is not working. I would love to get to the point where I've got a sustainable viewership and I can just play anything, but I don't think that's likely. Super edited video of a normal stream. Well, I was kind of talking about that earlier because I was mentioning I downloaded a bunch of clips that have been made by you lot over the last year and thought about doing kind of like a supercut to advertise the stream on Twitch. But I know very little about video editing, certainly nothing about effects. I can clip together a video, that's about it. Damn. And I also wouldn't like that kind of work to be done for free because that's time-consuming work. It's basically having like an editor. I do also, the kind of the pushback is always, like, YouTube is not out to get people specifically. It is out to promote certain people over others because they get views, but at the same time they're not deliberately trying to kill off people's channels. But just the way they keep on changing the back end stuff, it does lead to things like what I was talking to Valinar about when we were playing Monster Hunter. I found that because I had my name in the front of videos, they weren't appearing in search results. And as soon as I removed my name, they appeared. Oh, I still have this. I was like, I'll take that so I get Polaroid invincibility. No, I won't, because I've still got a bloody bone heart. That was all that did was bring me closer to death. Good, excellent. Streamers do stupid horror games where exaggerated screams and jumps. If I played a horror game, I'd jump. I'd get frightened. I would not enjoy it, but I wouldn't like scream or run around or, you know, 360 no scope heart monitor. Which doesn't make much sense, but you know what I mean. But I've also said it before, like, the things that people do on YouTube and Twitch to get noticed, don't hate them, hate the game. They're willing to maybe, you know, go as far as to say embarrass themselves because they have to. Well, I absolutely agree that not being willing to ask for help has been hurting me. It's the way I was brought up. I was brought up to earn everything. And that's how I've lived my life so far. I like earning everything I have. I don't like asking for help because I see it as weakness. That is not the right way to think. It is not a good way to think. But you're brought up the way you're brought up. Growing up with very little and being taught to earn everything you want helps keep you grounded. Okay, hang on, there's a lot of walls of text that I do want to read, so I want to sit still for a second after this room. The point of this isn't so much Isaac as it is reading feedback and such. Meet new streamers and ask them to raid me. This is where we bring up the crippling social anxiety even in digital form. But then you're poaching viewers, aren't you? If you go to other people's chats, even if you interact with them, if you're secretly hoping, oh, maybe some of their viewers will come to me, that's a little mean-spirited, even if accidental. You'd rather be aloof and rich. I'd rather be able to just make enough to live on and keep doing this. I don't want to be rich. I wouldn't mind being aloof if it means retaining privacy. Yeah, no, that's the ultimate catch-22. I'm in a business that's almost entirely crowdfunded by people offering you to, well, essentially on donations, bits and whatnot. They're basically forms of getting help, which is the ultimate kind of... It's somewhat ironic that I'm doing this when I feel so strongly about help, but you know, small steps. That's why I brought this topic of discussion here today, because it's to the point now where I'm out of ideas, basically. Probably waited too long, but I have a habit of overthinking. If I raid with 50-ish people. Oh, you mean like when I'm finishing a stream, just raid some person in the category. That's not a bad idea. Again, it makes me feel uncomfortable because it's being social in a manner where I'm not used to it. I'm very lone wolf in the way I operate, chat. I'm quite content with just my own company and a dog. Also, we are re-rolling the run because whatever. It got worse. Oh wait, we have Hive Mind and pretty good familiars, so maybe it's better. I need somebody to be my pro bono manager and handle that kind of stuff for me. Like, hey, you're ending your stream? Okay, we'll raid this person. Oh right, I don't have any space for him anymore. Because you've got to understand, chat, although I blather away because that's my job, socially, I just like keeping to myself, staying quiet, observing, watching in silence, taking pictures of you when you least expect. Not that one, that was a joke. Maybe. You raid them, they raid you. And then we can have a fight scene like the movie. Was it though? Yes, I can categorically state that I've never taken any pictures of any of you. Oh wait, is CR here? I took a picture of him. Well, technically my sister did, because she took it of us. But she used my phone. Don Tombre is lying. If you think your anti-socialness is bad, this is the most social thing you do, then we're the same. This is the most social thing I do as well. That's partially why I don't want it to stop. Because although being social makes me uncomfortable, it's easier to do online than it is in person. I did the whole working in retail for long enough and having to be social with customers, and while I kind of like within the retail setting, talking to customers was the bit I found most enjoyable. Not to sell them stuff, just to like have mundane conversation after mundane conversation, like silently in the back of your head counting up how many people ask you about the weather in a given day. Like, I've got to wonder, like, how many new YouTube channels, because there's got to be like however many YouTube channels made per day, and Twitch channels. How many of them go on to ever reach any kind of level of success, whether the person who made it had that intention or not? And did it happen organically? Did it happen randomly via something going viral? Did they cheat? And by cheat I mean, you know, either black hat stuff or grey hat stuff. Like buying followers or views, because apparently the thing that matters most on YouTube these days is like how your watch time is, how long your watch time is, your average watch time. It's like the most important thing. And yeah, I see the videos that get recommended first if you do various searches for video games, and I'm like, that doesn't seem right. I don't believe you, because I feel like I do have an audience that usually watches for a long time. But I did want to try and avoid yet again just lamenting over the situation. Today was meant to be about, well, one, getting the problem, although I've mentioned the problem before, but getting out there on a bigger scale where I'm not just mentioning that it exists, but more also saying, hey, if you know anything that might make a difference, getting over that first hurdle. We can work on either my personality faults or whatever after I have an audience that needs to give me a chance. It's getting that audience first that's the problem. I don't want to get towered. Miss my top 10 games. Alright, when I do them at the end of the year. I know it's not a good reason, but the reason I stopped doing those was basically being fed up with YouTube. That's why I stopped doing most of the content on it. Fed up with the system, you know, fed up with the numbers. We're Bane, except we shoot eyeballs from our face. You feel like you've been drawn into watching a new channel commonly via short list style videos? Yep, that's what I was saying. Short videos are the gateway drug to getting someone to hang around. You know a YouTuber that was about to hang up the tail just because of a video of his went viral? He now has almost 2 million subs. What kind of content do they do? Because if you're about to tell me that they just do like random let's plays of video games and occasional tabletop wargaming stuff, that would get my hopes up. But if they do like, I don't know, it's insulting to myself to call it proper content, but YouTube doesn't trust gaming content anymore, so I feel like it's doing worse on YouTube as a result. On Twitch is obviously like almost 100% about gaming, if you ignore IRL, which everybody should. So there's like all the problems about YouTube, whatever, take them all at face value if you want. But then you look at Twitch is all about gaming, so like it should be easier technically to do better on Twitch than I am, which is like in the negatives. Now grant you, there's definitely bonuses to having a stream of like between 40 and 80 people, as opposed to when we had like consistently 400. It's a hell of a lot easier to keep up conversation with chat, but again, there's a catch-22, you need more than that to be sustainable. Although granted, I attract a lot of lurkers, so, which is a good thing, I don't mind lurkers. As I've already established, that's usually how I watch stuff too. I don't think I had a good reaction to the Total Warhammer games, it's more so that I was sponsored to play them and I think it got some promotion as a result. Well, it's funny you should mention that, because I was looking through my entire stream library to find more co-op stuff for Valinar and I to do, and even though I'm very bad at the Total Warhammer games, I thought he might be interested in Total Warhammer 2. Which he doesn't own, but we do have the Steam sale around the corner, so... I agree that having big groups of people to banter with is helpful as well. Pepper, yeah. Like when I was looking through those clips from last year, there's clips from like 2-3 years ago. We'll call those the glory days. It's like, my humour works best when I have people who I can break from a humour perspective. Because I don't really laugh a lot, but I'm good at making people break to the point where they can't control their laughter. If they give me something to work with, which is also hard to do. It's not... It has to happen organically for it to work best. And I do miss the old days. I don't particularly miss playing Overwatch, but I do miss the old days of having fun before all your friends let their audiences shit on you. Those were the good days. You miss when Overwatch was fun? I might get back to being that. Ever so often I get a slight itch to go back and give it a go just from a casual scum point of view. Mystery Heroes and all that. I'd much rather they did some kind of cooperative game, but... You know... Aren't they releasing that Pandemic Rainbow Six Siege thing as a separate standalone game? That's a bit interesting. Oh, I will read that in a second. Hang on, I've just got to finish this room first. If that is becoming a standalone game, that and Watch Dogs 3 might make me make another Uplay account. I want to do an old lady Brexit playthrough. Thank you Hawkwardly Silver for a 30-month streak with a tier 1 sub and for giving the purple heart. Doesn't that mean I died in battle? Because that's very true, I did. Part of me did. A new game, 3-player co-op? Like a full-blown game, not just an event? That interests me. Because that kind of game scratches the same type of itch that Deep Rock Galactic does. Like, I can't overstate how much I'm enjoying playing Deep Rock Galactic. I don't think it's doing particularly well on the YouTube side. It seems to do okay with the Twitch audience. But it's really scratching an itch I never knew I had for, like, team objective, roguelikey... I don't know what the hell it is, but I like it. A full-blown story mode? Oh. When is that scheduled to be, like, released or anything? Purple Heart is wounded in battle? Well, if the battlefield is my streaming and YouTube career, yes, I've been wounded many times. $2020? Well, here's hoping I can hold on that long then. Because there's a lot of good games out next year. Shaping up to be a very good game year, 2020. It's going to be a terrible year for hindsight-related presidential campaigns. I don't mind playing Dead by Daylight once in a while, but it gets old fast if you play a lot of it. And the other problem with Dead by Daylight is I have to know I have at least 3 people there. Because it's not a game where if there's not a lot of people, then I can just do it as a duo or whatever, because I ain't playing that with randoms. No way in hell. But yeah, the new Doom is out. I mean, there's a lot of games out in the winter season this year I'm looking forward to that I'll hopefully still be able to play regardless of how things go. The summer's still looking a little bit dry. I'm kind of rethinking Nier Automata now that people kind of pushed back when I said I'd only do one playthrough. It's like, oh, you're not going to get the true ending if you do that, and I'm worried people are just going to get annoyed with me if I only go for one ending. Yeah, the track to beam is going to be very awkward for this. Well, anyway, we can keep talking about this as we move on if you want, but good talk, chat. I've got some stuff off my chest that I'm usually uncomfortable talking about because I don't like showing weakness. If you're watching after the fact on YouTube, feel free to chip in on the conversation. But for now, we are going to move on.